Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. I'll never get tired of saying that because it is possible for you to live life on your own terms, beloveds. And we have to recognize that not all human beings are the same. And so if you have that gene, that creator gene in you, then you should be making full advantage, taking full advantage of that to call into your reality, to create your life, to order reality. That's your inheritance. That's your spiritual inheritance that has been taken away from you. But those are definitely stories for other days. Special shout out to our Patreon family. We appreciate, love you so much for supporting us. And actually, this question came from one of my Patreon family who was asking me about what I thought about the new suicide pods that have been released in Switzerland. I think this happened earlier in December. Many people have talked about this, but it's basically this guy. He actually has created a suicide pod, and basically it's like if you want to kill yourself, you literally enter that pod and they release like nitrogen and a mixture of different chemicals, and you'll feel, according to him, this is what he thinks, you'll feel extremely euphoric before you lose consciousness, and then that same pod can now be used as your coffin, and it can literally be towed anywhere in the world, etc., etc. And there are several countries that allow assisted suicide. In 2020, 1,300 people in Switzerland actually died through assisted suicide. It's also legal in the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Canada. Listen to those countries. And for me, beloveds, it just, this is, whenever we see Babylon create something, we're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. But this is a sign of the seasons and times that are coming for their people. And this is a danger of being in someone else's narrative, because then their story becomes your story, their issues become your issues, which may not necessarily be your issues. Because the world is changing, the world is heating up, beloveds. Things are going to get extremely difficult for those who are on the wrong side of our story. That they will be needing machines like this to take themselves out. Some won't even be able to come out into the sunshine, which is why they've created the metaverse. Some won't even be able to, live, breathe. Like, that world is over for them, beloveds. But I really wanted to say this as a cautionary word to our soul family, because it's different for us. And because we've always thought we're all the same, we've been taking actions that really hurt us. You see, we don't get to leave this world through death, because we're reincarnating beings. We have a soul, which means we've been here before. And if we don't get it right, we'll come back again, which may not be what we want to do. Because this is a place where it's like you have to balance out your checkbook kind of thing, or your bank book. Many come on a mission to meet people from different worlds. There's so many things. Maybe I can do a separate video on why we come here, for real, for real. Why some of us of royal bloodlines, come to this world. Because everything is a give and take here. And so if you give too much in one lifetime, then much will be given to you in the next lifetime. Much will be bestowed on you. Many of us have also accumulated skills and talents over many lifetimes, beloveds, that we can tap into. It's just like they've made the world more and more dense so that we feel like this is the one life, YOLO, one life to live, which is a lie. We don't get that. We don't get to leave this world through death. We only get to leave this world through overstanding, through inner standing. Because at the ends of our soul lives, we come before you know, a spiritual judge where we review our lives. And from that perspective, we either decide to journey home, we come back to correct the wrongs. I mean, I hate to compare it to a video game, but it's kind of like, you play out this story and then you get to review and you're like, oh man, I should have gone this way that time. I should have done this then. I should have. And so you can either come back or you can go to another world, but you'll kind of have a debt that you still have to pay here. And that's what happened with a lot of chosen ones, is they reached a certain level of overstanding, which means they graduated, but they still had a few debts to pay here. They still had a few contracts that needed to be paid out. And so we had to return in order to clear as that world fell, so that and retrieve any fragments of ourselves so that we would not be attached to where that world is going. Fallen Babylon. And so, beloveds, when you take your life as one with a soul, that's a big price to pay. And first of all, it reduces your overstanding. You see, you need overstanding so that you reach a certain overstanding, and it's like nirvana, enlightenment, epiphany. And from there, you just see everything as it really is. You see the world as it really is. You see the matrix behind the matrix kind of thing. And you're able to then graduate from this life. So it's like from layer to layer. Some are able to, because they've been here several times, they're able to achieve that enlightenment in one lifetime. Although many, it's taken lifetimes, and then there's one designated lifetime where you reach the epitome of service, of, giving back, of operating fully in your spiritual and mental gifts, and moving like a god on earth, just in terms of what you're capable of. But when you take your life, which is why suicide is such a taboo among our people, you reduce your consciousness. It also affects the bloodline. And it means that when you're not able, you're now trapped in a lower an understanding. You're now trapped. And your body will have to start life at that lower level. So it's not an option for us. Suicide pods are not an option for the original ones, beloveds. Because that doesn't mean we get to leave this world. We'll still have to come back. And you see that, the reincarnation cycle has kind of been rigged, because I keep telling you, things are happening on a spiritual level. It's not what you see physically. But many souls are trapped in this perpetual return. And maybe that's something I'll get into in a future episode, where they just find that they keep coming back because the powers that be keep that soul trapped in this hell, heaven, earth. And so they just they're not able to get that overstanding that will release them from this world. And that's how their soul now keeps being recycled into this world instead of penetrating through. It recycles and their energy is siphoned. And that's the whole thing, even behind the double Big Mac. They want you to be trapped here forever, literally. But those are stories for other days. Tuko pamoja.